Alright guys, so what I want to talk about today is people. Because people, me being one, they could be so fake. They can be so jealous. They can also be kind-hearted. They can be evil. And I bring this up because I notice that when I think about women dating in the States, and I start to cross-examine what I've experienced in other countries, and I start to weigh in on what I think the differences are, and then some things are just apparently so clear. Treatment, number one. And I believe that's because dating outside of the country, they're not exposed to American way of life. So you don't have to run into a lot of the superficial things that you would have to run into dating someone from the States. And I'm not saying that's what all women rather, but the majority of it I've run across. Then there's the attitude. A lot of the attitude that you get from foreign women is a really good one. Because if they're drawn to you, if they're attracted to you, you're going to know right away. It's not a thing whereas she's a female, so she's not going to do that. Out the country, it's opposite. Not only will they do that, they're not waiting. They're not going to miss an opportunity. They see something they want, they get it. They go after it, they pursue it. Here in the States, it's a lot of hurdles. I'm not going to say there aren't any hurdles with women outside the country, but you topple that with body count, it gets bad quick. Another thing, kids. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't any women outside the country that are not single moms, because there certainly are, but priorities are different. I just feel like you can find someone more traditional, more down to earth. Also, if you guys ever dated off those apps, because the way the world is now, if you're gonna go on a date, chances are you're gonna use a dating site. And I've had some experiences on those dating sites. Boy, let me tell you. Let's see. So, after my divorce, I was trying to figure out you know, if I wanted a serious relationship, if I even wanted to get back into a relationship, or if I just wanted to have some fun, you know. So I signed up, got on a couple of those apps. It was actually by chance. I was on Facebook one night, and I was scrolling, and this app Zoosk popped up. And I had never heard of Zooks, but this popped up on my Facebook, and I filled it out because I thought it was part of Facebook at the time, you know. And I met some nice women, actually, and some of the more memorable women. Let's say it was something different. So I met a woman from Minnesota. I met a woman from Florida. I met a woman from California. And another lady I met, she was from Dominica. She was from Dominica, I think. And that was something different. But let's start with the Florida lady. Filipino. She was older than me. I think she had a year and a half on me. Maybe 2 years, actually. And she was like very interested in me. We had been talking on the phone or whatever, and making the most of that, having some great conversations. And after, you know, the conversations, they were good, but also they went on for a few months, and the conversations were so entertaining. They lasted from sun up to sundown. We had a lot in common, had a lot of fun talking on the phone, a lot of anticipation, you know, talking crazy, just having a blast. And so during one of our conversations, she mentioned, you know, we got onto the idea of me visiting Florida, and you know, and just taking a quick sabbatical and checking out, you know. So it was around Christmas, sometime in December, and so during the conversation, I told her, you know, I'll come out there on a quick sabbatical or something, you know, because I'm not really thinking I'm gonna really meet this lady. I just think, well, you know, we're having a fun conversation. It's impulsive. She lives in Florida, I live in Chicago, but it is December and it's cold in Chicago. So she was like, you know, yeah, if you come out here, we'll hang out and all this stuff. So I was like, cool, with no real intention of ever going out there. You know, the conversations were fine. I was confused. I wasn't really ready to date. So it felt good just to talk to someone and, you know, get all the stress of being divorced and the challenges and the changes in my life. So it was cool to have someone to talk to about those kind of things. So I was cool with that, right? But, you know, we kept on talking, kept having conversations, and every conversation built up more and more anticipation, you know, more wanting to see and talk. And like I said, these conversations would start at 3:30 in the afternoon, sometimes sooner while I'd be at work. And they would last till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. And it seemed like it would be like 2 hours worth of just talking to her. But it'll literally be like 14, 15 hours straight. And like I said, the conversations were great. They were a lot of fun, a lot of laughter. Because it was like a lot of like, just silly stuff we talked about. You know, I would be like, you know, girl, if I see you, I'm going to break you off. I was talking mad shit, you know. Because I never really had any intentions of seeing this lady. Like I said, she lives in Florida. But during one of our conversations, we got on the subject of money because we spent months talking. And she had told me at one point, she said, you know, don't worry about money because I'll take care of whatever. And it went over my head because, like I said, I wasn't taking it serious. I didn't think really too much of it. So that happened. So it got closer to Christmas, and she, you know, I was like, oh, I got some time. And she was like, hey, I thought you said you'd come out here or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'll come out there, whatever. She was like, you just lying or whatever. Thought I was BSing, which I really was. I wasn't trying to go out there. I mean, you know, I was thinking about all kinds of weird shit. Go meet a stranger, wind up getting kidnapped or getting poisoned, I don't know, robbed. Because I don't really know her. I just know her off Zooks and the internet, you know. And before we got to that part, let me back up. So we had been chatting back and forth, and for maybe a week, less than a week, you know, I was like, you know, this chick could be a dude. I don't know who I'm talking to because all I see is this photo, and we talk on the phone or whatever, and you just never know. So somehow I was like, let's get on video chat. You know, let's talk to each other and see each other face to face. Because, I mean, what the hell we're doing? So she was like, cool. So she called. I was like, oh shit. I wasn't ready. I didn't think she was gonna call right then and there. So she did though. And it was like, boom, okay. She was exactly who she said she was on the picture. But I was still only seeing her from like the shoulders up, right? So I was like, you know, I didn't push it. I just waited a couple of conversations and I was like, hey, how come you never show the rest of your body or what you look like or whatever? So then she was like, oh, you never see my body? You want to see what I look like? I was like, well, hell, shit, we're talking on the phone. Yeah, absolutely. Making all these different plans. This chick stood up because she's always in the bed or whatever. She stood up and she had on a bra and panties. And I was like, damn. Okay. You know, because I was, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't, you know, I thought we were going to hash it out for a little longer, you know, me trying to convince her to do it. I asked her one time, she stood up, and she was like, okay, here it is. I was like, wow. Because she looked super awesome. And I was like, damn. So now I'm really confused. I'm like, I don't know this chick, and she don't really know me. And we've been talking and shit, she looked like this. So I began to think maybe she crazy, maybe she got a disease. You know, my mind started running through all these different scenarios and shit. Because she's a pretty woman. And I'm trying to figure out why she's single. And it's not adding up. Especially if she's friendly to me. So, she tells me, you know, she was dating a guy, and the guy was apparently married already, and they had been dating for a while, like a couple of years, I think, and he had been living a double life. So long story short, when she found out he was living, she only found that out because the lady that he was married to actually wound up following him. And when she was following him, she followed him back to her house, and she wound up, you know, trying to bust down her door and break her windows or whatever, and she wound up having to call the cops, and all these things getting, you know, restraining orders or what have you. So that happened. That's what brought her, you know, to the dating website, because I asked her, I said, how did you get on the dating website? You know, it's like, why are you here? And it's pretty much the same reason why I was there. You know, break up, older, been with somebody for a long time, really don't know how to get back out in the field, you know, because it's not something you do. But you know, moving forward, we like I said, we had those conversations, and during one of those conversations I was like, yeah, you know, I'll come out there and check you out. So conversation time had passed, and then she brought it up. She reminded me. She said, you remember when you told me you was gonna come out here? I say, yeah. I'm not thinking really anything about it. She was like, so what's up? You know, if you're gonna come out here, or you just talking shit? And I was really just talking shit. I had, you know, like I said, she lived in Florida. I'm in Chicago. She's in, what is she, in Jacksonville? So she pressured me. She was just like, she started pressing me and like, you know, like, you just like everybody else, blah, 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 blah. You know, so I was just like, damn, this chick fine. So far, she checks out everything she says she is. You know, everything's on point. Fuck, right? So I was like, I'm gonna buy the ticket, because she pressing me, right? So I go buy, I'm thinking, I'm gonna buy a ticket, I'm gonna buy a ticket that's refundable, because I'm gonna just show her the ticket and then I'm gonna back out, get my money back. So she was like, if you get your ticket, let me see it. I want to see your ticket. I'm like, damn. All right. So I purchased the ticket, sent her a screenshot. Now, when I did this, I forgot. During those conversations we were having, she got my email and all this shit. She got all my information. And I'm not thinking nothing about this shit, right? Do you know, somehow, now, to be fair, she told me in the beginning, and she kept telling me over and over again, hey, I work in IT, you know, I can get all kinds of information. I work for this company, and we can find out information with very little stuff. And she just kept telling me this, right? Which could have been the reason why she kept approaching me, kept on, like, you know, not seeing any problems with being with me. Because I kept asking her, I was like, how you just gonna be with a stranger that you don't know, who lives across the country or whatever? How does that work? How are you so trusting? You know, I'm trying to figure all this shit out, because I'm having a real problem, you know? And she's just like, I'm not worried about it. And I'm just like, what the hell? So she was like, yeah, just get the ticket, your chicken ass, right? So I'm like, man, this chick is tripping. So like I said, I get the ticket, I send her a screenshot. This chick pays for the damn ticket. Before I can return the ticket, she sends me. Now she don't pay for the ticket online or anything. The chick sent me the price of the ticket back through Apple Pay. I was like, damn. So it was like, okay, yeah, you coming, because now you've already told me you got the time off. Because I told her all this shit, you know, just making up shit, you know, trying to present myself as being cool or whatever, you know, because I'm you know, like I said, I don't think I'm gonna see her. So this chick sends me the money back and says, I'll see you when you get here. So my brain goes into overdrive, you know. So I'm like, damn, she paid for the damn flight. So now I'm going. So I arranged my job. You know, I'm like, shit, how am I gonna do this? Because this is around Christmas. Nobody gets this time off, especially like you know, all of a sudden shit. But I'm like, you know what? I don't even give a shit, you know, because my whole life is flipped upside down. I just got a divorce. My wife is trying to take every goddamn thing. I'm losing at 100 miles an hour. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Everything's falling to pieces, going to shit anyway. So, you know, I get on this plane, and before I get on this plane, she tell me, don't worry about it. I got you. I'll take care of everything. And I'm just like, oh man, I'm crazy. What the fuck have I gotten myself into? I'm going to go see a stranger I've never met, and I'm trusting that she's going to do all this shit. So on the plane, I mean at the airport, I'm freaking out. But really when I get on the plane, I'm like, fuck man, what's wrong with me? I'm about to go get my insides cut out. I'm about to be, you know, fucking kidnapped or hijacked or whatever. You know, I got like all these crazy thoughts, right? So I get to the airport, and I think it's like 5 minutes. I get my bags. I don't see her. I'm hot. I start going into a fit, a rage, like, this chick ain't showing up. She done stood me up. I've been fucking catfished. You know, she's probably a fucking dude, blah, 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 you know, all kinds of shit. She got a pimp. These motherfuckers done lured me to this place, gonna try to do something to me or whatever. Nope, none of that happened. So I see this short chick coming with just like dynamite, right? And I'm like, nope, that ain't her. So she started running towards me, and I'm like, damn, that's her. This chick is nice, right? Now I'm really fucked up, because I'm like, this chick is good to go. And she's mature, she's older than me, right? So her kids are old, like everything's good. And she paid for the damn flight. So I get there, she calmed me back down, because like I said, I'm pissed off because I don't think she's coming. She shows up, she's running towards me, whatever. Very pretty. Just everything's in the right spot. And she's got a bag in her hand, like a shopping, some type of shopping bag. This chicken bought me clothes, hats, all kinds of shirts, shit like this, and I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, how do you get my, like, why you buy this? Like, what the hell? Like, how do you know my sizes and shit like this? So this is what I asked. So she's like, you know, I know your sizes, and I know where you work at, and all this stuff, right? And I'm just like, damn, so how do you know? She was like, I told you I worked in IT. So I was like, oh shit. So after she tells me she works in IT, I listen, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then she has clothes in the bag for me, a hat for me. I don't have anything but my luggage and my bag to get, you know, that I'm getting off the flight with. I don't have anything for her because, like I said, I don't even think she's real. You know, I'm thinking all kinds of ridiculous thoughts. So not only is she real, she right. And like I said, she bought me some gifts. So I get there, she's like, I got everything set up. This chick then got a suite across from the amusement park. She didn't pay for everything. You know, and my jaw dropped because I don't know what the hell this is. But she told me, she said, don't worry about money because I got enough money. I work in IT. She's like, I make a lot of money. And she showed me her house, but I didn't think it was her house because, you know, a lot of people lie about a lot of things. Like, hell, I was lying. And she got, like, her house is like half the fucking block, you know? So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think, because when she told me she had money, you know, I didn't, you know, you don't know what the hell that means. Somebody tell you they got money, you know? Because I had money, but shit, she was like, no, I got some money. And I was like, okay. So when she told me that, I just kind of took it for granted. I didn't think too much about it. I said, okay. So then, what happened next? We went to the hotel room, and we started. I was so freaked out by meeting her. She had like a large suite with 2 beds or whatever, and what I wound up doing is I stayed in one half of the suite, and she stayed in the other half of the suite because I was still nervous, and I didn't know what the hell to think. I'd never experienced anything like this. So, you know, she had a little attitude because she's like, "You're gonna fly all the way across the country, you know, come see me, and then you're gonna sleep in another room or whatever." And yeah, it was awkward. I was feeling strange. Because like I said, this had never happened. And then with that happening, I stayed in there because it was like a let out couch. So what wound up happening was I was laying on the let out couch, and she was in the other room, and I was watching Cheaters. And when I was watching Cheaters, it was like Donnie Greco or something like that. I don't know. The guy had just had like a fight or something, and I was in there laughing. So she came in the room. She was like, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, "I'm watching Cheaters." And then she came and sat down next to me, and then I started feeling weird and shit because I was like, "Damn, she didn't pay for the room. She didn't pay for my flight. She bought me clothes, and you know." Her energy changed when I wasn't like, you know, getting close to her or whatever. She was like, you know, she was, you know, feeling it. So when she came and sat down next to me, I told her to get closer because I was feeling like shit. You know, she had did all these things for me, and she's a very attractive woman. But I don't know, it just seemed so strange to me that it never happened to me before, so I didn't know how to receive it. So finally, I warmed up to the idea that this is happening. We're in play, right? All the butterflies were starting to melt because we're on our second day, and I'm still trying to work through my emotions. Because, you know, I'm thinking about my ex-wife and my divorce and her situation, and we're in this hotel room and she booked it, and I'm thinking to myself, like, who's across the hall? Maybe she's got a pimp next door. Maybe there's a car. I don't know anything because I don't know, right? So I got all these thoughts rushing through my head about who am I sharing a hotel room with? Like, who is this person? Because I don't know. But she came and sat next to me and, you know, started talking, and the energy changed, and the day, everything went really, really ultra smooth after that. Things were great. And we spent that time together. I went back, and then New Year's Eve was approaching, and we, you know, since we had such a great time, we were talking on the phone again, you know, after I got back. And since I'd gone out there and things had gone so well, she was like, "Would you like to come back?" I was like, "Yeah, shit, it's cold, you know, it's Chicago, it's you know." So she was like, "All right, well, look, you know, if you really want to come back, check this out." And she was like, "Here's a flight." I was like, "Damn, all right, cool." So I'm back out there New Year's Eve. My son's tripping because he's bringing me to the airport and dropped me at the airport. He's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on because, like I said, I never met a woman in that position, and if I did, she didn't let me know. This one had no problem telling me that she was, she's strapped, and her story was she just wants a real man. She don't want to get heartbroken, all this stuff. She wanted me to move in with her. It was all too fast for me. I mean, even though we've been talking for a few months now and we've seen each other, I wasn't finalized on my divorce. I still had my home. It was just too much, too fast. And she really wanted to get together and do all this. And I examined the situation. I said, no, she's moving like this because she's heartbroken too. And she's trying to cover up her pain or whatever. And I get it. I said, but that's not a good enough reason to, get into something like that. So, like I said, I went back out there for New Year's Eve rather, and we hung out, had a great time. Went to Disney. What is that? We went to Clearwater, Florida. We went down to Disney Springs. We did a lot of fun stuff. Ate everywhere. Ate at some places in Disney and Clearwater, Florida. Had a great time, but her wanting me to move to Florida and be with her, it was just too fast, too much. And I started to think, I'm with a rich girl. If she get mad, she could just toss me to the curb. I didn't want to put myself in that position where I'm with a rich woman and I really am powerless. Even though I got my own money, my conscience started to play with me, like, how can I do or provide for a rich girl when I'm an average guy? And she wasn't even tripping on that kind of stuff. She was just like, said, I just want to be with you. And I was like, my mind was like, no. I got to be able to provide. I got to be able to do this and do that. And she was like, well, my money's our money. And I was just like, that's cool. But, I'm used to something different. And like I said, she was Filipino, so she had something different too. But she kept telling me she had a lot of money because she lived in Singapore first, and before she came to America. So, and yeah, we had a very nice time. It was very interesting. Like I said, very attractive, very good. Spending those days with her, very good. But my ego, my pride, I just didn't know how to be with a rich woman. I just didn't know how to handle that because it was above my pay grade and above my understanding. I don't know, it was like a lot of pressure for me. I couldn't even sleep. I used to think about it. I'm like, man, this girl is rich. She's, like, what can I do for her? You know what I'm saying? Like, I never dated a rich girl. So it really messed with my mind, I tried my best to deal with it and try to cope, but I think to myself, like, man, what if I want to get her this? And I think to myself, she could buy that. Like, I had a real problem with, like, thinking, what can I buy her? How can I, like, how is it going to work? So that was one of the things I was dealing with. Like, how would it work? Because our financial situations are different places. So I sabotaged it on purpose because I even now I think about it, because I told my friends and family, they say, oh, you stupid, you should have kept that going, you should have stayed with her. I get it, but me being who I am, I need to, I don't know, I don't want to say control, but I mean, damn, I felt like I'd be walking on eggshells. We gotta be even or something, evenly low. I don't know, maybe I just screwed up, but whatever. It was hard for me to just know that she was, you know, financially in a better place. I used to go to bed gritting my teeth, trying to figure out how can I topple that? Like, what can I do to get in front of that? To the point I was just like, you know what, not enough time, haven't known her long enough, maybe I'm overreacting or whatever. But right now it's just not the right time for me, because like I said, I was in the middle of finalizing my divorce, because my divorce had already taken so much out of me, because we started it before COVID, and because of COVID we had to wait an additional 2 years, and financially, emotionally, physically, it took a lot, you know, because you still have to share bills and responsibility on certain things, and when you're not talking to a person or dealing with a person, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of aggravation. So yeah, I just wasn't ready to enter into a new relationship. And even though she was a well-off lady, I wasn't ready at the time. It was just too much. So I don't know, I'm probably boring the hell out of you guys with this, but I needed to come get my steps, and I had to wait until it got a little cooler out, because it was too hot earlier. But yeah, that happened. Dated a girl. I met her, I think either on Zoosk or, I don't know. Yeah, it had to be Zoosk. And yeah, she surprised the hell out of me. Then there's another girl from Minnesota. Her and her blue gun. We'll have to talk about that story another time. But yeah. Alright guys. If you like my content, like, share, subscribe. Hit the notifications on the channel so you'll be aware when I drop new content. This was just some random, you know, walk and talk. You know, I wanted to wait until the sun went down before I came out, so yeah. But I've been walking for a while, and I'm tired now. Yeah, so like, share, subscribe. Peace. I'm out.